It kind of was brought to my attention again after my trip back to America, and just seeing how many people have tattoos there now. I was sort of surprised. I think there was kind of a big boom. It sort of started when I was in college, and it's kind of huge now with all these, crazy TV shows on the, Turner Network and all those kinds of things. But I don't even know what channel they're on. I don't get a chance to watch them. But I do know that it's gotten to be more accepted and more mainstream, and you see a lot of people that have them. And I was just surprised being there during the summer how many people did have them. People everywhere seemed to have something inked on them, so I was a little surprised by that, of how much it's changed. I have one. I know that most of my friends do, but it's certainly not in a place that it's just on my shoulder so that people can't see it all the time. But I know, having been here when I first moved here, that I had to cover it up, and there was even some places, if I went to some onsens, that I couldn't even go in because I had one, even if I covered it up, because that's considered a no-no here in Japan. And I thought the reasoning for it was just ridiculously stupid, but it comes from the fact that people associate it a lot with the gangsters and yakuza from Japan, and so having it is sort of scary to see for everybody, I guess. I suppose it'd be kind of like people walking around with a big swastika on their arm. That's kind of offensive because it recalls things from something else. Even though the swastika symbol can be found in Native American art and other symbolism as well. So, but the correlation to it and what it means for some people is so strong that it becomes offensive. So I understand why people don't want to have it out for everyone to see, and you don't want to be flashing people if you have this giant half body art. That's a little suspicious, because usually people that do that are in cahoots with all those bad dudes. So obviously you don't want those kinds of people threatening all your children when they're at the pool. No, I'm kidding, they don't do that. That's not what they do in their free time, Yakuza. They don't just threaten people when they're at the pool. But I guess it's just more frightening. It's like enough to make people have heart attacks or be scared because of it, and live in fear and want to run away because of some association with it. So, but it's been kind of hard to get used to because people are kind of a little weird about it here. But I was particularly surprised, and this is kind of old news a little bit, but I think it was way back in May that the mayor of Osaka said that he thought he ran a kind of a what do you call that? He questioned everybody to see if they have tattoos or not, for the people who work for the city office, and asked anybody that is, a public officer, that he's trying to propose that anyone who has tattoos, whether visible or not, be asked to leave their job and do some other kind of work, which I thought was kind of surprising. I think, it's always a big question of how much people should be able to have control over who they hire and what they do. And it is true, you've got somebody like a public servant, maybe those kinds of people need to have a certain level of decorum or something, but I don't know if tattoos really fall under the line of what is bad decorum. I know friends who've had, elaborate piercings and such and have a hard time getting a job, but I also kind of, and I feel for them, and I think, everybody should be able to get whatever, they should be able to be hired by wherever, but there's something to be said for, not having lots of body piercings, not having visible tattoos. If you're working with the public, in public service, being support, being in sales, those kinds of things, you can't be looking too freaky or you're not going to have any success. And that's got a lot to do with the fact that the people you're dealing with as customers are going to be put off by it. And that's not something that any company can do anything about to change. I think it's just reality. And certainly, you find, if you're in sales, for example, or in retail, and somebody's working and they don't really want somebody with a giant, spider tattoo all over their neck, because most people are going to be like, yeah, it's kind of gross, because that's most people's reaction. I think it's cool, but, most people are going to have that reaction. And, drive away sales and make your business not successful. So when you think about that, it's kind of like, okay, too bad for you, but you chose to get that. You've limited your choices for business and, employment. That makes sense. So I'm kind of torn because, the guy, the Osaka mayor, I kind of think it's just a jerk too. So I want to say that he's wrong. But I can kind of see where he might have a point that you don't want people, you know, showing it off. I mean, I don't think they need to be fired, but they do need to try not to show it to the world. And apparently somebody had threatened somebody with it, like, oh, be quiet because I'm like all badass with my tattoos. So, you know, I don't know. So I'd be curious to hear what you guys think, especially from other countries and what people's perspectives are about tattoos, body piercings, those kinds of things, crazy hair colors and styles. You know, are those things accepted and, you know, encouraged in your office space and life? Or, you know, are there some places and businesses where it's banned? I'd be curious to hear what the common ways of looking at things are from other countries as well. I know in the States, you know, it's kind of, you know, I don't know if anybody's really ever been, you know, fired because of a tattoo or something, but it is encouraged to keep it covered up if you can, just because that's considered business attire. You know, I guess that's just kind of part of the way it works. So I'd be curious what you guys think and what happens in your country as well, because I know it's becoming a big question here. And it's a huge shift in Japan because there's a lot more people, young people, who are getting tattoos because of fashion and because of other reasons. It has nothing to do with the Yakuza at all. And because of that, it's kind of creating a new change. You know, what does this tattoo really mean for people now?